say when there are no words? Feel a song that's never been heard. How do you know when you hear the call? What do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, 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 cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. What do you do when the mountain is there? How do you answer the challenging dare? And when your back's against the wall, what do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, 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 cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. Hey, now cannonball, 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 cannonball.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing iRacing GTE League Season number 5, Round 2. After a few weeks break, we return to what a track we are returning to. It is the Nurburgring and Nordschleife combined. My name is King-Kodiak, and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box, always happy to say, for all matters iRacing, it is the Lord God himself, StevieSQ.
Good. Yes, we are back after an incredibly long gap, it seems, since the last round in Imola. But we're back. It's GTEs, and we are at the toughest track of all. It's Nurburgring.
Pesky real life getting in the way.
There's no excuses now.
No.
And they've had 3 weeks to practice, so I've not had time. Doesn't really fly as an excuse either.
Right. Apologies for the technical difficulties we've had, which has delayed the stream, but as you can probably hear noises in the background, I'm just getting back into the session myself. We have got 11 minutes of qualifying remaining, so let's get on with the action, get rid of that, and we will head to the track side. So it's Iru Nom that is at the top of our particular board at the moment. Claudio Klima in second. Michael Dreschler, nice, in third. Dan Sasulski, someone who I tripped over his name quite a few times in Imola. He is currently fourth. De Bruychek is fifth. Inar Marinsky's currently sixth. Yuka Suominen in seven. Marvin Slumin 8. Alexander Godefroy in 9. Flavian Foku rounds out our top 10. Who can we find? Not everybody is out on track, but we do have a full grid. We have got 40 drivers with us this very eve to tackle this monster of a circuit.
Yeah, it's a big grid for a big track, so they should equally be able to find space on track to do their lap. Format was a little different for this track, just because it is this huge circuit. There was no practice session. Normally they'd have a 25-minute practice session and 15 minutes qualifying. That was all bundled into one big 40-minute qualifying session. And as is the nature of this track, only 19 drivers have actually managed to set a time at the minute.
Indeed.
So less than half the grid have currently got the time on the board.
So let's follow the rest of the grid through then as we currently... Oh, I didn't do the introduction commentator screen. I didn't even announce Stevie properly. Look at that. That is what we currently look at. It's a 17 incident limit for this race. Yeah, there's not too many runoffs though, but where there are, they will catch you out. I am not good on this particular circuit when it comes to actually driving it. I just can never remember it. That's the problem, is there's so many turns, 70 odd corners. So I just think, oh, I'm at this bit, and I turn right into the wall. You know, and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of this track that looks very samey. There's a lot of forest, and it's easy, certainly in the latter half of the lap, to get lost.
Yeah, absolutely there is. Well, who else can we find? We are looking at StevieSQ, who is really pressing on in the Ford. So he is not hanging around. Oh, look at that. Just look at the air that he catches off of that particular bump there. Now, we are going to struggle with corner names. It is not our native tongue, it being out in Germany, of course. But I will try my best to deal with them. Stevie has already opted out of that one. Absolutely fine. But these guys are absolutely amazing with just how much they're just pushing on. Dan StevieSQ is not hanging around whatsoever. As he had a bit of a lag moment there, but he's absolutely attacking this circuit. And you can see the gaps in between these cars. Now, under normal circumstances, 1.5 to 5 seconds is a huge gap. Here, it's a tiny percentage. It's just under 8-minute lap. And the top, and to be fair, Flavien Fokum and Troy, that's only just outside of that 8 minutes. See, Soren Kreutz is only just outside of that 8-minute limit. Well, not a limit, but that amount of time. So that's the top 13 cars separated by less than 10 seconds, and over an 8-minute lap, 10 seconds really is not a lot.
No, absolutely not. And again, this is a long race and this is a long track, and as we've already said, there's not really any room for error here. If you get it wrong, it could be... It's a long way back to the pit lane.
Yeah.
So pace is one thing. Survival is the main focus here. There's so many places you can just get it plain wrong, and other times where the track will make you get it wrong.
Kill you. There's no finer way of putting it. But,
and then you've got to factor in your own mistakes and the mistakes of other people. Survival is key tonight.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So up to 20 cars that have got a time on the board. There's a bit of a gap between... if I move... where are we? If we move... No, can't find the button for it. I was going to scroll on the top 15. Oh, no, there we go. There was the button I was looking for. So you can see that... Oh, we just had time 21 put on the board. Who was that? Just... Oh, a new poleman! Dominic Gaidemeyer, very nice. 7:51.597, beat Irunom by a second. Nicely done in the Comrade Gaming Ferrari.
I will just say, just as a point of going forward, is that it may look like the cars are lagging, and when they'll blink out for us. It won't happen for the drivers, just because of the size of this track. It's quite hard to get all the data for all the cars at all times for spectators. So it's not a lot we can do about it, I'm afraid.
And there we see a name I'm less familiar with, Joachim Lundgren, 17th position. And he's 11.5 seconds, which, as we said before, is normally a big gap, but it's not such a big one to find here at Nords. Then it is Matthias Salo Christensen in 18th. Ronnie Gibbons, a name I haven't seen for a while. Last I saw Ronnie Gibbons, he was in a Ford. For last season, indeed, I believe. Stevie was in briefly.
I don't think he was in last season.
I've commentated on Ronnie in a Ford somewhere, so... He did
it a few seasons ago, I think, but not last season.
Christoph Holstein jumps up to second place in the other CSR Ferrari. There he is, half a second behind his teammate. Well. The Comrade Gaming cars leading from... Oh, go on.
I was just having a look to see which of the higher end drivers that we'd expect to be at the front hadn't set a lap yet, and I looked at Phil Reed, who spent a good 20 seconds at least behind Fraser Williamson, who's just crashed in front of him.
Oh no!
Phil managed to dodge him, but Phil hasn't set a time, so he really didn't need to be to have an incident on that lap.
Now this is AOR Blue, but he's changed team, has he not? He's joined Sarah Dove. Yeah. But I was just double checking that the skin is correct. He is actually in the AOR Purple team along with Sarah Dove, who is up to 9th. So a good effort for her. You can see Phil Reed really pressing on. I couldn't tell you which part of the track you're again, I know that sounds highly unprofessional, but I am not an expert in this circuit. I can't immediately identify which piece of track we're looking at. Oh, and that's not how. And this is exactly what Stevie was talking about. I was watching Phil Reed go through his lap, and that's how quickly it can completely change. You can be leading by minutes, throw it into the wall near the beginning of the lap, and you have had it.
It's unfortunate. It's that, you know, it's the risk with this track. It's what the drivers like about this track, is that it's a challenge and it's fun to drive. And I know Phil was a big supporter of this track when we had the vote, so I'm sure he'll be enjoying it now.
Not when he's running along the wall, though.
Probably not. No, probably not.
Who else can we find? There's not everybody is on track. Valtteri Alander is on track without a time on the board. We've got 3.5 minutes of qualifying remaining. So this is going to be interesting to see how. Again, I can't identify which part of the circuit he is on. So, unfortunately, I just saw a board there and it vanished just before I had a chance to check where he was.
He's about halfway along. Yeah, he's on that back part now, going along that straight. He's coming up towards the carousel.
Just thinking that, I did see a sign which I just clocked, which was the Klostertal, I think that one is pronounced. Yeah, he's on his way towards the carousel. He's just coming into that really tight right-hander that then leads towards the carousel. Yep, there he is. Now this shot I do recognise, and all the writing on the floor. And then he's got the carousel coming up on his left-hand side. There he goes. That's really hard to stay in the groove of that. I've driven a few cars around here, and it's really hard to stay in the groove of the actual carousel itself. It's very easy to just be spat out.
Oh, easily. It's the challenge of that whole thing of just take that inside line but not get thrown out, because you may as well have just gone on the outside at that point. He's now coming into the bit where I think we're going to see most incidents. This incredibly fast second sort of third to last third of the lap. It is fast and it all looks very similar, and it's undulating, and there's jumps and there's fast corners and there's walls everywhere. It's scary, this stuff is.
It's not called the Green L for no reason whatsoever.
Absolutely.
It's had that name for many, many years and retains it. And that's the thing. I mean, these cars do get air. The GTE cars, rather, don't like flying. And they do on a fairly regular basis around here. So, you know, talk about a way to unsettle the car. We're going to see... There we go. Knew there was a bump coming up there for Valtteri Alander. So he's now coming down through, I think that's the Flansgarten. He's coming through, or the second part of the Flansgarten. He's going to be coming up to the small carousel. And he is absolutely attacking it. Absolutely brilliant from our Glacier Racing car number 11. Here he comes then. That's the right-hander just before the... I can't even pronounce this. Schwalbenschwanz. Now the mini carousel. Now the mini carousel, the Kleines Carousel. Oh, a little bit twitchy on the exit of that. Then it's going to be the Gardenkopf. Something head. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
And now we're coming onto the back straight.
Indeed, the Dottinger Hoher. There he goes. It is just... Oh, that's one of the VEC Porsches he's chasing down the road. So
I'll tell you who it is. It is Jeremy Hoppe.
Jeremy Hoppe. Where does he find himself in the list? Not with a time on the board, it seems. For Mr. Hoppe, unless I've missed him.
No, I think he's one of many.
Oh! Timu Troika up front has actually split the two CSR cars. They were only separated by half a second, which is a tiny percentage. Here, he's going to split them.
That's impressive.
That's exceedingly impressive. But here comes a lander to finish his lap. Let's see where he finds himself, along with Hoppe as well. A lander as pole. He's gone and got the pole time. 7:51.104. 4/10 or just shy of half a second from Gadamer. Wow, that is far closer than I thought it would be up front.
Absolutely, and the timer, just so you're aware, is they have 40 minutes to start a lap. If anybody who's just started it with 1 second to go, we've got about another 8 minutes to wait. So just be patient. If there's anybody still on a lap, then we will hopefully try and pick them up.
Well, Toika is still on his lap. He's actually still coming through the Nurburgring, so he is right near the beginning of it. And he's got 8/10 to find, which is not a lot here at all, as we've already mentioned. Where does he find himself? He finds himself coming up to the Vidal chicane. I recognise these bits. I'm good at the Nurburgring. Again, we were here not long ago. So he's, of course, going through the faster version of the Vidal chicane. Now going to go over to the right-hand side to get that cut through. Oh, wow! Threw it into that cut-through section. Did look like he was going to lose that for a moment. And then through the Hatzenbach, which I'm not 100% sure whether that's the beginning of this section or the end of it. But actually, we may as well follow Toika through as we've picked him up near the beginning of his journey through the green hell. Yeah, a lot of these names, I'm just looking at them and shaking my head, and I make no apology for that.
Let's just say this is the first part of the Nordschleife, and it's, from what I know, the curbs are lethal around there. You don't want to be riding them too much.
Yeah, I doubt these. I would imagine everyone's going to be running for a pretty soft suspension setup in their cars. I would have thought, just the pure nature of this circuit. Really,
I'd want just the most comfortable, reliable, stable thing possible.
That makes sense. You've got a very long way.
And some drivers will take that approach, I think, of I'm not trying to be fast. I don't care how quick I am. I don't care if I'm 20 seconds off pole. I just want to be able to not crash. I just need to minimise the reduce of crashing and just go for the most stable car. Because realistically, on this part of the track, there's one opportunity to overtake. Which is down the back straight. Then the rest is just the normal Nurburgring GP, just without the arena section.
Yeah, indeed.
So you don't need to worry about top speed if you're just looking to survive. You just put as much downforce on the car to give you as much grip as possible.
Yep, absolutely. And consistency is going to be... consistency is always crucial, but never more so than here.
Absolutely.
Because a mistake is so costly, as Phil Reed very aptly demonstrated not 10 minutes ago by introducing by having an argument with the wall and the wall winning. Yeah, that's these guys just can't afford that. It's still an hour and 20 race.
Absolutely.
Which is only about a dozen laps at best. Yeah. Someone do the maths. I'm not very good at how many laps we have actually in this race. We'll
find out when we start.
Good answer. Good answer.
Our software will tell us.
Very true.
I am interested to find out how iRacing will grid the remaining drivers who haven't set a time. From memory, and I have a hunch that it goes off iRating.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know, and you will be glad to know, viewers, that it's not a full formation lap.
That would take a while.
That's like half the race.
Yeah, would
no, they will start on the back straight and they will do a short parade up to the pit straight here.
Good stuff.
We've also got Aero Nom still on a lap.
Where is Aero Nom? Oh, he's just
gone through YouTube corner.
He's got a Porsche ahead. Can't see who. Oh, got very squirrely on the exit of that particular corner.
He's got Cohen Van Eyck in front of him.
Cohen Van Eyck. Where does he find himself? He is not timed yet. So there he is without a time on the board. They're a bit further along their lap. And that's another thing these drivers are going to really have to manage properly. Look how my goodness. I want to get through.
And Cohen's in no obligation to let Timu through there. They're both on hot laps. They both count.
I think Cohen didn't fight that, but it was scary how quickly the Ferrari was going. And yeah, Cohen's ditched that one. He's gone. He's disappeared. But that's exactly what these guys have got to deal with. Having someone bearing down on you when you've got all of these corners, all of the bumps to remember. Because you take a bump wrong and it will throw you off into the wall. And you can clearly see the walls are not far away from the track. They're ready to kill you at any moment.
Absolutely, and I've seen as well that there's a bump from the final corner of the GP circuit leading on to the actual Nordschleife. So you could bin it before you even get to the hard part.
That's a long way to limp home.
Yeah, absolutely. Something Evan in the chat just said, think it sets the rest of the cars by car number. In which case, that is an unexpected advantage, because the drivers get to pick their car number, which would put Richard Brenneman at the front of that pack that haven't set times, and it would put Mike Sheppers with number 96 right at the back.
Oops, my Discord's popped up on screen. That's not helpful.
And Cohen did manage to set a time. So even with the interruption from Timu, he's managed to set a lap time. Which is great, because it puts him ahead of all of those cars that just didn't manage to do.
Just a quick question, Stevie. Are you running the ticker? Are you running the latest version of the interface yourself?
I assume so.
Have you got 5 cars on your? Have you got 5 drivers on the ticker at the top?
5 drivers? What?
You know the ticker at the top?
Yeah.
I only have 5 on mine.
No, I'm doing a scroll. I'm up to 20 at the minute.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to reload mine. Because
okay.
I've spotted Nick Domino, our overlay guru, asking me which version I'm running. I suspect I've not got the right one, so I'm just going to hide that and reload it. So apologies, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm pretty sure I'm running the right one. But I will be certain. Yeah, I am running the right one. Bung that in.
We'll manage either way, I'm sure. I think our last person to set a lap time, well, to finish his lap, will be Jukka Suominen, who's just on the rise up towards the GP layout now, and the incredibly fast uphill area with the very hard braking zone. And if you get it wrong, there's a wall. Then you've got a little chicane, and then onto the pit straight, and he's pitting. So that lap wasn't going to count for him.
Where did Toyka only went and polled it, didn't he? I looked away to try to see if my overlay was misbehaving, and he went and set the poll time at the 750.894. Very nice. Oh, there we go. I've reloaded the interface, and I now have more people on the ticker at the top. Marvellous, awesome. Marvellous. So we're just waiting then for the last few drivers that have yet to retire their car. I don't think anyone is actually on a timed lap at the moment. So we're just waiting for the last few.
I think it's because there are people who are sat in the pit lane in their cars.
Indeed. So we're just waiting for either the timer to run out or for those guys to register they aren't doing another qualifying lap. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 drivers that didn't set a time. So JJ Parkinson, Joris Thielen, Fraser Williamson, Chris Bell, Anthony Washington, Brett Westgarth, Stefan Kamke, Phil Reed, Mike Sherpers, Sebastian Riethmuller, Richard Brenneman, and Gordon Anderson not timed. So they will start 31st and below. Well. Some really big names in there as well. To be fair, anyone that is going to attempt this league, particularly here, is an amazing driver. So, not meant as a slur whatsoever, but it's absolutely, it's a serious number of people that weren't able to tame the green hell at the crucial time. But then you got a circuit like this, qualifying position really is not so drastic, but overtaking is very, very difficult, as Stevie alluded to earlier. So, this is going to be a real race of patience.
It is, and it's going to be a case of like the very start of this race. It's slightly different than the normal Grand Prix layout, You miss out that whole arena section from what would be turn 3 and 4 and 5. Now you just have a very small and kind of awkward chicane. I think it's called the Yokohama S. And it's very easy to trip over people there. So if that's... for all the corners, that's going to be a tough one for them to navigate to start with.
None of the others are tough at all.
No, it's not like they've got another 13 miles, I think this track is. It's huge.
It's colossal. 72 corners, I think, is the entire count. Yeah, it's... I admire anybody that wants to do any kind of racing here. Again, I used to do a fair bit of time trialing on Project Cars 2, and this was a favourite. And I just look at it and cry. You're at full crank for nearly 8 minutes a lap in something like, in these GTE cars, which, let's face it, they're not slow. You put the slower road cars in there, you could be facing 9-10 minutes of just constant concentration. I can't do it. Just one little mistake, but you've been going for 7 minutes 49 seconds and you just tap a wall and time invalid, and the amount of screaming that this track must have generated under those conditions.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It must have been... It's incredibly hard work to just drive this track. To race it with other people, putting pressure on you, it's... Oh, man. Yeah. It's a whole thing.
I did once race Group 5 cars. Now, anyone that knows the sports cars from days of old, the old monstrous turbo Capris, for instance, that didn't go well. I didn't last very long. You got the likes of... I was going to say that the Kelsworth, but that's Group A as opposed to Group 5. But yeah, monstrous turbo. So, again, when the turbo drops, it just throws you into the wall if you're not pointing the right way. Right, our confirmed grid then. Toyka, Alanda, Gadamer, Nom, Holstein, Klima, Wallström, Dreschler, Sosilski, Debroicek, Marinsky, Dove, Martinson, Lundgren, Suominen, Sluman, Godefroy, Hoppe, Foku, Krutz, and that's we're getting close to the point. Oh, not quite there with no times on the board yet. Oh, Zelenika. That is right, Zelenika, yep.
Yep.
Got that one right. And Guyard, Potter, Blackwood, Gibbons, Christensen, Cooper, Towns, Van Eyck, Smith. Now we're getting to our no-timed one, so we'll see where they start then. That is Thielen, Williamson, Reed, Sheppers, Bell, Riethmuller, Anderson, Brenneman, Westgarth, Kamke, Parkinson, and Washington. That is your confirmed grid order.
Just a point, Joris Thielen has opted to sit this one out. He doesn't feel comfortable driving the track, so he will not be taken to the grid.
Who was that? Sorry, I missed that.
Joris Thielen.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can't blame him. That's
true. And just as a point as well, we're expecting about 11 laps.
11 laps.
Right, 11 laps for an hour and 20 minutes.
Just goes to show.
It boggles the mind.
Yes, absolutely. It just goes to show how big this place is.
Absolutely.
So we're just waiting.
Go on for someone at the back of the grid for the start of this one.
I am, yeah, good call. They got a great ringside seat. I am looking at Mr. Holstein, car number 9, as they grid up. Just waiting for the last few cars to join and get themselves ready to go, and then the pace car will get underway. I doubt he'd want to try and do this one in the Mustang. That's a lot. That'll be a lot of sliding.
That's too much sliding for anybody.
It's taking quite a while. I'm not sure who we're waiting on at this point. Hold up, there we go. No sooner do I say that, then the field gets underway. And this is where the nerves really start to build. Just these tentative first few moments where, again, you're so closely compact. You're at pace car speed, of course. But it just sets the nerves on edge, gets the adrenaline going, and we will soon get this race underway.
I applaud everyone who's turned up tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't do this.
And now I've done a few league races, and this was the point where I was most nervous. And you do not want to be nervous in the green hell.
No, you've got to have confidence here. More than you should have confidence in most, pretty much every track, really. You at least have confidence in your ability to keep the car pointing in vaguely the right direction. But here it's just survive.
Once again, the top part of the grid so close. As far as the gap from first, I think it was the first 6 or so were less than the second separated, and over this kind of lap time, that is just phenomenal. But here we go, we are now underway. Our drivers are now getting the foot down, getting their race underway. The numbers will sort themselves out there. Oh, look at Gadamer, he's already shaping up for a move, trying to get further up the field. That's Irunom that he's gone past now, right under the wing. Our Valtteri Alander Holstein is getting right under Irunom's wing as well. There's going to be a lot of... Oh, look at that. He's gone into the slipstream and jumped on the inside of Irunom. That is a battle for 4th. But that's the thing, you really don't want to be chasing too hard too soon. You've got a long way to go, and if you've been it now, again, we mentioned just how long this track is. You don't want to be limping to the pits. Well, you don't ever want to be limping to the pits, quite frankly. But I think it's fair to say here is the worst possible place to pick up any kind of damage, certainly early in the race.
Absolutely, and we've had quite a few drivers, it looks like, start the race from the pit lane, which is why we had that extra long wait. I think we've only got 29 cars that actually took to the grid.
Right.
The rest will start from the pit lane. Stay out of trouble, but they've now got their own little race at the back, I think.
Fair enough, keeping an eye up front. Toyka and Valtteri Alander have broken away from Dominic Gadamer, as you can see from the shot there. Gadamer has got himself a little bit of a comfortable gap as well. Irunom just saw him at the top of the shot. There he is, under a lot of pressure from Holstein and Klima. They now coming through the Vidal chicane to leave the Nurburgring for the first time. Just saw at the back of the field, I thought it was Sarah Dove from him in that purple car, but it's not at all. It wasn't her I was looking at in the slightest. Here they come then, entering the Nordschleife for the first time in anger. And up front... Oh no,
I think Aaron Norm's had an issue.
He's going okay on my screen.
Okay, good.
So far so good for car number 78 for Bushring Racing. You can see further behind there is Claudio Klima. A lovely black and yellow livery car. But look behind, that's Magnus Wallström with Dreschler, Sasulski and De Bruyck in very short succession. Then a slight gap to Sarah Dove in the pink and black Ford with that's Einar Marinsky directly behind her. Big train of cars. Well, there's lots of trains everywhere, as you would expect this early in the race. But slipstreaming is going to be absolutely crucial. But the thing is, what undoes the slipstream effect is you're already right at the top of the rev range. So it will help, but only until you hit your own rev limiter. So many things. If any track was so center dependent, it's this one.
Absolutely, and it's amazing how for this track
Lee changed. Toyka went too deep into the right-hander at the Arenberg, and he's lost 2 positions. Gadamer shot through as well. So what did we say earlier on? One mistake is very costly, and this, on the first racing lap, that's 2 positions now. He hasn't lost too much time, but it makes no difference when the field is this compact. One mistake is going to be so crucial. No one's, none of the top lot have hit the wall yet, at least. So no need for a pit lane visit just yet. Has anyone further down hit the wall that you've noticed?
Not that I've seen, to be honest. It's looked very clean from what I've seen.
That's incredible.
It is, but we go to some tracks that are all tracks pretty much are way more compact and smaller than this, and they trip over each other. Here, JJ Parkinson had a bit of a wobble there, but he's managed to survive. It's amazing though, this race is so long, this track is so long, it's all about survival, but I just saw people trying to go around the outside of someone else at serious speed.
But I mean, some people feeling the need that they have to so early on. It wouldn't be what I would suggest for racing a circuit like the... that was a big wobble from Gadamer. That's going to put him under pressure from Toyka in 46th already behind him. He's managed to survive that one just about, for now at least. As the top 5 continue on their merry way. The top 5 all Ferraris. was going to ask this earlier. Does any one of the cars have an inherent advantage over another?
They're all pretty balanced, but they all have their own kind of specialities. The Porsches, and they each have their own weaknesses as well. The Porsche does not like curbs, and the Porsche is easily the slowest top speed wise. So if you're driving a Porsche, that long straight is going to feel very long. The Ferrari is very good all round, and the Ford, from what I understand, having never driven it, is very stable. But I think Mike Shepard has an issue. He's slowing down and he's pulling off. He has stopped.
Oh no, Mike Shepard is out. He's retired. Our first victim then. And we've lost quite a few. He's jumped. Yeah, we've lost Westgarth, Thielen. Thielen didn't start. Parkinson and Van Eyck. We've lost quite a few cars already. 37 cars remain in the race. Oh dear. No, a few people we didn't see their incidents. Again, there's so many to commentate on. It's impossible to cover everybody. But
okay, just to update, just because I just checked. Westgarth did not start the race. We know Thielen did not start the race. Mike is in the pits and Van Eyck is still going. He's in 39th place.
Oh, okay.
It's just because we're going to have some issues just because they're going to be so spread out.
Yeah.
Our software is going to have a bit of trouble keeping up with everybody at the same time.
Toika is really keeping the pressure on Gadamer. He's not wanting to lose any time. But Valtteri Alander now in the lead in car number 11. There he is in the Glacier Racing car. He's beginning to stretch his legs. He's going to have 1.5 seconds over Gadamer. And then you've got half a second between Gadamer and Toika. Roughly the same again to Iru Nam. I'm actually going to bring up the full race gridding now, the top 15. The numbers have shuffled around. The numbers will correct themselves when they next cross the line. So ignore that for the time being. Then Iru Nam is with this top lap, but Christoph Holstein's fallen back a little bit. There he is. He is 1.3 behind Iru Nam, but no reason for him to push too hard so soon. Claudio Klima then in 6th position in the Geodesic Racing Ferrari. That is his starting position. Then you got Wallström that is under a lot of pressure from Dressler. Then Sasulski, you see, in the lead Ford. Then De Bruycek is in the lead Porsche. So basically, I think it's most of the top 10 are Ferraris. Slightly further back, Sarah Dove has broken free of the train that's behind her. Oh, what's happened to Alander? Has he had a lag moment? Alander's crashed. He's in the pits.
I want to see what happens. I hope I can see what happened.
Oh, he lagged out for me, so I'm hoping I'm going to be able to catch what happened to him.
Yep, can't see it. I can't see it.
Well, there he was in the lead. That's the carousel. Oh, he hit the apex on the carousel. Oh, huge impact and vanished whilst in midair. Oh no, I don't know, who did he hit?
That would be Timo, I think.
It's got to be. It was one of the lead guys. Yeah, and Timo's. Oh wow, he's really fallen through. Where is he? There he is in 7th. Oh god, terrible damage. You can see everyone just streaming past him. I mean, at least for him, he hasn't got too far to go, comparatively speaking, to get back to the pits. But he's going to be in there a while. Oh, what a shame for him. It's actually now the leader is now Holstein. He's got Iru Nam and Dominic Gadamer. So Gadamer, who had to take avoiding action, is
Timo's staying out.
Really?
Yep, he stayed out. If there's the mentality, isn't it? It's of, do I want to survive or do I want to get a good finish? If he wants a good finish, which you might just get by surviving, then the last thing he wants to do on lap 1, even here, is pit.
Well,
he's probably going to have to pit for fuel. He doesn't want to have to come in a second time. He's just going to go until he can come in as early as he possibly can, and just get the damage fixed there. Or if he can keep going with it, he'll do that, I think.
Can it move under its own power? Yes, must drive.
The only thing will be is if iRacing has given him a black and orange flag. If they do that...
Oh, Gadamer, lovely inside move on the hairpin. That's gone up to 2nd place.
Oh no, Timo spun!
Oh no.
Looking at the hairpin, he spun it.
Oh, so well, he's going to... If he's spinning at the hairpin, he's really going to struggle pretty much the entire lap around. And he's just staying out of the way. He can't defend. That's an interesting decision by Timo, but He's committed to it now. He can't do anything about it until he comes around again, and that's going to be a very painful drive, I would imagine, for him.
Absolutely, but he, again, it might be worth it. He just needs to survive like 1 or 2 laps. I know that sounds easy. It's still 16 minutes or so with a damaged car. But if he can survive that, he can still beat a lot of drivers if they crash it. Like he's beating Elgato.
Well, yes.
You know, if you put it that way, he's beating somebody who's immediately out of the race.
Well, yes, we would highly expect more drivers to succumb to this monstrous circuit. And just keeping an eye on Nurburgring as he is really piling the pressure onto Gadimir. This is allowing Holstein to run off into the distance. What's his,
for now.
For now, yes. It's amazing how quickly the fortunes can change. But that is bringing, there is Claudio Klima in that geodesic racing Ferrari. Car number 10 is really closing in on the back of Nurburgring as well. With them comes Magnus Wallström and Dressler, Michael Dressler. So that pack has broken up a little bit. Dan Sasulski, next one further down the road, with Krista Project still in hot pursuit. Sarah Dove now up to 9th against what we were talking about, war of attrition. Just may not necessarily be the quickest, but if you can keep it out of the wall, you're on for a decent result, one way or the other.
Absolutely, and I've tried to remain unbiased, but I'm highly looking forward to how Sarah Dove handles this, because I know she loves this track.
Crazy!
she really does. So I'm hoping she gets a good result here today. I hope all the drivers get a good result, but I know she really loves this track.
And all credit to her. Again, all credit to these drivers we mentioned before for attempting to tackle this track. I think you're... Oh, Dressler! Dressler's got that sequence of corners all wrong. That's going to bounce him over the curbs and rejoin the track. He's going to come behind De Bruyck. And there he is. Just going to have to slot right behind the Porsche. No harm, no foul as far as anyone else is concerned. He very much did that on his own. And speaking of Sarah Dove, there she is with Ina Marinsky has now caught up to her. Ford, she's looking to make a move as the Ferrari doesn't. The 14 flavor Ferrari does not defend that one. So is there damage on Dressler's car? He didn't appear to hit anything. Or he's just taking his time to get back up and running again. And I know what that's like, and I'm sure, Stevie, you can equate to the fact that when you lose your rhythm, when you kind of lose that mentality yourself, when something just shakes you, it takes a while to get going. And we've mentioned it before, you need to be comfortable at a track like this. Absolutely, and it's something we kind of touched on Friday in the with the Formula 1 3.5s of those. Of the really great, the championship winning drivers, they have that ability to bounce back from those incidents so quickly of like, okay, I made a mistake, I put it out of my mind, that happened, I know I can do it, I know how not to do that again, and they just attack and go for it. For a lot of drivers, that's not so easy. I can't do it. I know I can't either. The fortunate thing for these drivers, if they like Dressler who made that mistake, you know, he's got another 8 minutes before he goes back to that corner, so he's got plenty of time to forget about it. Marinsky just made a small mistake there, just touched the grass, and Dressler back up into 9th position. He was chasing Saradav, just pushed that Porsche a little bit too hard, didn't want to grip and off onto the grass. What's the incident limit looking like at the moment? 1s or 0s. The worst we've got is a couple of 6s further down the field.
Gordon Anderson's on 15 at the minute.
Is he?
Looks like
I did.
33rd place.
Wow.
So he's going to have a tough evening, I think.
Oh, he's had an argument with something solid, looking at the shape of the rear wing.
Yeah, just from the chat as well, I can see Taz, so that's JJ Parkinson. He's in the pits, he's got damage.
11 minutes of repairs. Oh, ouch. And that was exactly what you were talking about earlier as well, with Toyka. Is he just... Oh, is Williamson in trouble? Oh dear, what's happened to you? What has happened to Fraser Williamson? He's got one of the Fords behind. Who is that? What's that? Oh, too deep. Yep, that's exactly where Phil Reed binned it. Phil Reed did exactly the same thing. So it just goes to show, and he's returned to the pits as well. He'll be there for a while. And once again, blink of an eye and everything completely changes. Sarah Dunn's under a lot of pressure, but she has started to break away a little bit from Ina Marinsky. who's got Dressler. Lundgren's in there as well, and Suominen is all in that battle. There they are. That's a lot of pressure to have to deal with on a track that's already exceedingly demanding.
Absolutely, and just as you mentioned, Toika's down to 16th at the minute. He's following Knut Martinsson, so he's still carrying damage, but he's managing to keep going. Yeah. And just as a point on the crash that followed Phil Reed. There's enough corners, can't they crash at unique ones rather than doing the same ones over and over again?
Well, you know, they say that a sincere form of flattery is copying someone, so yes. You know, maybe Phil has a fan.
Maybe. Just watching a few drivers go through the corner of our Orlando crash, and the top 3 at least have made it through. That must be so gutting for Orlando.
Yeah.
He had one lap in qualifying that counted, and it was a pole lap. And then on the first lap of the race, he bends it. Yeah,
just completely undoes itself. Let's have a look at Joachim Lundgren, currently 11th position on the back of a train between Dov, Marinsky, Dressler, and himself. That's what it looks like on his nose. He's 9 tenths behind Dressler, who's 7 tenths behind Marinsky, who's 7 tenths behind Dov. So that's quite a battle forming there. Oh, that's my Steam giving me some messages. Apologies for that. Should have turned that to D&D. Completely forgot to do that. There he is streaming on down. Can't really see the rest of his opponents from that shot. Well, you can from that one. And Saradov can see, and that's... Oh, go on.
Timu's managed to overtake Knut, but I think Knut's about to repass him now under the bridge over the hill. Yes, and he's got that position back. So clearly Timu is struggling on the straights, which I'm not surprised with the amount of bodywork damage he has, I'm afraid.
Holstein gets the fastest lap of the race, as you would imagine, out up front and 1.7 ahead of his teammate now. He's 7:54.318. What's happened to Wallström? Wallström's lost a position around the outside of that cut through by Dan Sosowski. That was a nice move by car 48. That was very, very nicely done. De Bruychek is chasing on as well. That battle continues then with Dov, Marinsky, Dressler. Just saw Lundgren in the shot. Oh, what's happened to Gaillard? I think he's had a problem. He was very slow coming through that cut through, so I think he's had a problem and lost a position there. There you see Sam Blackwood in the Ford directly ahead. How is Toika doing? He's hanging on to the back of Knut Martinsson, so basically doing his best. You know, that's kind of damage limitation, but he is staying very clear with the pits for now. But everyone's going to come in at some point. Are we expecting them just to come in at the halfway stage, or are they just going to burn?
I have no idea, honestly. I think this will probably be a case of I'm going to pit when I crash. Well, I hope I can get some damage fixed and take fuel at that point. Because you don't want to pit here, go out, and then have an incident on your out lap. Yeah. Because it's such a long lap. A lot of tracks, you know, you can do that, and okay, you've only got a minute or so to get back to the track, to get back to the pit. Sorry, but here it's such a pain if you have an off, or you do it. You so little mistakes. You put a wheel on the grass, you're in a wall, you scrape the bodywork. You know, all of these little incidents that would usually be relatively harmless on some tracks can ruin your race here. So I expect most people will stay out for a while.
Oh, what's happened to Marinsky? You were suddenly very slow and you lost a few positions. Oh, he's on the back. That's Saradov's Ford. Saradov's in 8th, so he's been pressuring her for quite some time. What's happened to the Porsche? Okay. Oh, yeah. Too much. And that's a heavy bounce off the wall.
It's a heavy bounce off the wall, but I will say, from what I can see there, the car looks okay.
It does,
It's got a little bit of damage on the front left, but the bodywork's not massively dented. It's got a little dent, of course, but he might have just got away with that a little bit.
Suominen, you've had trouble. Oh, no! Oh, that's big trouble. That is very... Boy. What's happened to... Well, let's have a look. That's Suominen following... Well, that's Knut Martinsson and Timu Toika behind him. So that was around 14th or so. But he's collected someone. What has happened here? We're watching him now. 125 chasing what must have been Jeremy Hoppe in the Porsche. Now, there was somebody there. Looking good so far. I'd probably come back a little bit too far in the replay pod. Oh, wow!
Yeah, just dropped down his own. And then someone else followed him!
I was going to say, there was another Ferrari there. It's one of the geodesic cars.
That's Ronnie Gibbs.
Ah, well, somebody was asking earlier what's happened to Ronnie Gibbons. Well, there you go. That's he's had a bit of an incident on his own.
And that must be so frustrating for this moment, and he's just like, oh, I could just flip it around, and there's another car sat there, like, move!
And, you know, again, that is another aspect of this car. You've got, of this circuit, rather. You've got to ride the bumps properly. There is a perfect demonstration of what happens if you don't. It's yet another thing for these guys, and this is why I struggle with it. I'm a simple bear, you know. I go forwards. I might wiggle, lift, and ride a bit in an attempt to turn cars. I can't remember the finer points of the bumps at corner number 436. You know, and that's the problem. And these guys have to. And
yes.
And that just adds to the challenge. You know, some drivers relish in that. You mentioned Sarah Dove, who is in 8th position, still under pressure by Dressler. In again that geodesic coloured Ferrari. There is Lundgren in short succession as well. I'm surprised actually that there's not monstrous gaps between those that, well, obviously those that have pitted or had a problem, yes, but the vast majority of the field are still fairly compact. So I'm very impressed by that.
Okay, well, I'm just saying we've got a couple of cars in the pits. We've got Anthony Washington and Matteo Salo Christensen. They're in the pits at the minute. I don't know how long they've been in the pits, but they are in the pits.
Don't know. Oh, I've lost Washington. Oh no, he's reappeared. Oh, look, there was a problem at the end of the pit lane there, but I think that was just, yeah, I think that's just where cars are lagging in and out. So I don't actually think there is, unless there has been a crash at the end of the pit lane. That would be a little bit embarrassing.
Well, it would be, because they are basically ghosted in the pit lane.
Oh dear.
You can't crash into each other. Just having a look as well, back in 30th and 31st place, it looked like there was a bit of a scrap going on between Jake Towns and Richard Brenneman. Two drivers who incidentally are both feeling a little under the weather, they said in the race thread. But they found each other on track. But I think Brenneman has got the win on that at the minute.
You know, when you're driving when you're not well, you really are, you know, suboptimal. Here, I'd have thrown in the towel. No way would I have attempted this if I wasn't feeling well.
Timu's in the pits.
Oh, he's finally decided to pit, has he?
He's finally decided to come in. Although,
I admire his determination.
Well, considering that he was racing with Knut Martinsson, who...
Oh, Marinsky! Marinsky's had a problem. What's happened to him? I've gone back too far. What's happened to Marinsky? He was being chased by one of the VT Ferraris. I just saw his name begin to descend. He's had a problem somewhere. What's he done?
Indeed, he had a problem.
And it has to be said that the mistakes we've seen from our drivers have been pretty much self-inflicted. We haven't seen any major, I've just thumped into you because I've missed my braking point.
No, it's like I said, this track is a challenge on your own. Just existing on this track is difficult.
I still haven't seen the incident with Einar Marinsky. What's happening?
Oh, he got coming down towards the second half of the circuit.
Oh,
after
there
the
he goes. Yeah, he's bouncing off the curbs, and there he goes. Oh!
And
ow!
He has given up. Oh, by the way, he has left. So.
Ouch! Yeah, he bounced off the wall rather hard. Let's catch back up with our action then. Christoph Holstein continues to lead from his own teammate Dominic Edemer. Now 3 seconds up front. Irinom is in hot pursuit still. Remains within a second there on the back straight. Heading down back towards the Nurburgring. Claudio Klima is not too far behind. 3.5 seconds separates Klima and Nom. A bit of a lag moment there. Then it is down to Silski in the Ford, followed by De Bruycek in the Porsche, who has got Magnus Wallström trying to stay in his slipstream. Then Sarah Dove. Oh, that could be a move from Dressler being shaped up. He's very much staying in the slipstream, but I think he's topped out. He doesn't look like he's going to try and blast past. He's jumped out of the slipstream now, but he was in there a long time. He's nosed ahead of the Ford, but can Sarah Dove string that one around the outside? No, the Ferrari managed to get that one done just before returning to the racing line as they come into the twisted section at the end of the straight.
Yeah, she, like Sora's wise here. She knows that there's no point in battling that side by side. They've got this whole Grand Prix section here where they can race easily without risk of immediate death. But it appears in a minute that Michael has a little bit of space. But we'll see.
Oh, that was a big lockup from someone up front. I think it was De Bruyck. He seems to have gotten away with it. It was a VEC Porsche. It was indeed Chris De Bruyck. Further down the field, we have Alexander Godefroy in 11th position at the moment.
Oh, Jeremy Hoppe and Knut Martinson are having a bit of a scrap at the minute. Hoppe challenging Knut into turn 1. Knut managed to hold that one off though.
There is Hoppe in the number 29 Porsche. Then is Sluman in the next 4 down the road. Only a couple of seconds there. 3.5 seconds to Flavian Foku in 15th. Then it is Gaillard in the next VEC coloured Porsche. And Krutz and Potter side by side in the Ferraris. Who's going to win out? Ooh, that's very, very close. Heading into the twisty part of the Nurburgring. 14 on the inside. That's wearing Stevie's former colours. And Krutz wins out on that one. Very nicely done in car 91. Then it is Ronnie Gibbons in car 28. He was had that incident on his own. He doesn't look damaged, so he managed to keep it out of the wall. But is continuing to press on. Then in 20th is Riethmuller in the VEC Noir coloured 74 Porsche. Then it is Marco Zelenica fending off the advances of Chris Bell and Phil Reed. So 3-way scrap there for 21st. Oops, the white Ford wandering a bit wide. The Porsche with that damage on the rear wing was not able to capitalise on it. Phil Reed is very much biding his time.
I'll be honest, I'd have thought by now, and I mean this with the nicest. Oh, he's going to make a move!
Bit of an impact there as they come through the second chicane of the Nürburgring. And Phil's going to have him. There he goes. Yeah, Porsche got a little bit too deep there, lost that momentum. Sorry, what were you saying, Stevie?
I was staggered that they were so close to make contact there. On this track of all, you know, it's such a long. We've still got 53 minutes to go. You don't want to be having any unnecessary taps with each other when you the barriers are so close here.
Well, races are races, aren't they? It's when the red mist descends. That's it. You're gonna press on. Kamke in 24th with Gordon Anderson in hot pursuit in the Porsche behind. Then it is Brenneman in 26th, the PCDC Motorsports. Car number 6, Jamie Smith, 27th in his Ford. Then it is Merlin Cooper in the Red Bull coloured Porsche. Car number 66, Jake Towns in 29th in the Wolfpack Nando's car 69. And Cohen Van Eyck in 30th position. I think we've lost everybody else. Oh, wow. Cohen Van Eyck was in the pits for 20 minutes, if I read that correctly. So, pretty much, well, with the exception of the opening lap, all race long.
For me, he's only in there for 5 minutes.
Oh, mine is 20, but either way, he's been in there a while. And he is going again. Have we still got Sam Blackwood? Yeah, he's in the pits.
I think Sam's in the pits.
Yeah, so I think his day is done. So we have 30 cars remaining, or 30 cars at least, in a challenging position. Jumped up to this battle for 12th. That's Knut Martinson and Jeremy Hoppe. That battle's been brewing on a while. I think the rest of the battles have petered out to a point, and most other cars are at least a second apart, which again is absolutely nothing here at Nordschleife, as we know. So Knut is the one with the closest company there in 12th. That pass we saw earlier for 8th position, Sarah Dove being demoted to 9th. Dressler has got himself 2.3 seconds already. He is charging on. He wants to get towards the sharper end of the field as quickly as he can. He's got 1.4 to close down. There is a couple of cars he's closing in on. That time has changed. So that's De Bruyck and Volstrom battle for 6th in hot pursuit with Dressler not far behind.
It's amazing to me that they are so close still. They've all split up into their own little battles, as you said, but...
Oh, like, what's happened to Lundgren? What has happened to Joachim Lundgren? That's Sarah Dove, so he was in 10th when this happened.
Hoppe just managed to get past Knut as well.
Oh, yeah. He kept it out of the wall. Oh, that was Godefroy, I believe, that had to take some avoiding action. Not slammed into the side of the Ferrari, jumping back up to this battle still for 6th position. Chris De Bruyck is fending off the advances of Magnus Volstrom as best he can. We've still got another, 7 laps to go, which doesn't sound a lot, but as you can see, still 51 minutes of racing. And that's another thing I just thought of. We were talking about when these guys are likely to pit. I don't think anyone's going to be wanting to push for fuel. I don't think anyone's going to want to drain their tanks to nothing, because you could run out of fuel on that back straight and not have enough to coast home.
Absolutely, you want to make sure you get there, and I think they will take that little extra margin for this one. Yeah, but like I say, you drive this to practice the track. You practice on your own, and you practice with a few cars on track that are miles away from you, literally miles away from you. One.
Knut Martinsen fell out of the carousel. We were talking about that during qualifying, and Lundgren was right there to capitalise on that after his mistake. So that's Knut Martinsen down to 13. Sorry, Stevie, carry on.
I will say actually, just on that point, whilst you were watching what happened to
Knut.
No, before that. Who spun?
Yes. Yeah.
I was seeing how Hoppe got past Knut. Knut had 2 or 3 corners where he did what he'd done at the carousel, where he's got into the apex and kind of slid away from it. So literally the corner before the spin, he'd slid away and Hoppe got alongside. Knut had to back out because there's a spinning car in front of him.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Knut's either struggling with tyres or just struggling with... he's just done it again there.
He has, hasn't he?
I can't see any damage on his car.
But again, he may well have just been kind of put out of his rhythm a bit.
He does have a little bump on the front left, but that shouldn't couldn't hurt him too much. Yeah, I don't know. It could be tyres because you're working them incredibly hard here.
So is it likely that everybody's going to take a full change of tyres then in this race?
I don't think so. I think if you're comfortable and you're set, then you'll keep going. There's still the penalty of time to take them. So I don't know. I don't think many people will.
We've lost Toyka, I see. He's in the pits. I was just thinking actually, as you were explaining that, I was thinking, speaking of people just kind of pressing on without going into the pits, how did Toyka do? And he's in the pits. And I suspect he's been there a while. So yeah, he's been there. He's been there 10 minutes on my screen. So yeah, I think that's his day done.
Yeah, just to confirm as well, Jukka Suominen and Chris Bell have both left session as well.
Oh dear. So the car count continues to descend. Something around about the 28. So we will have probably half the field remaining, but that again is the nature of this circuit. It is. We were saying how unforgiving Suzuka is.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is Suzuka on steroids.
Oh, very much so.
It is a whole new level of extreme. It is an extreme racetrack. There's a reason why a lot of motorsports won't go here.
Yeah.
It's an immensely powerful track as well. But everybody knows it. Even people who don't like racing know of, or have at least heard the name, the Nurburgring or the Nordschleife.
Yeah.
It holds holding a lot of high regard for a lot of people and a lot of drivers. And some of them will hold it in less regard after today, I think.
Felipe Gaillard is in. And that one he's rolled in under his own steam, so that one I would assume is planned. I would think so. 67 Porsche, and he comes from the VZ Sim Racing Cyan crew. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if that, a lot of people follow suit. Something else that kind of dawned on me again as you were explaining that previously, where we were talking about how torturous this track is. The actual Nürburgring circuit must feel like a pleasant country drive in relation to there's only 16 turns or something like that in the Nürburgring. The track is relatively flat. You can see everywhere. It must be just relaxing when you get there, and then within 2 minutes you're thrown straight back into the jaws of the green hell itself.
I like to think it's kind of like when you have a dream and you tell somebody about your dream and you go, it's really weird because it was my garden, which is the GP circuit. It was my garden, but then I took a turn and it wasn't my neighbourhood. It's that kind of flipped reality. It's like, what? I'm on the Nürburgring, I'm just on the GP layout, and then I've got all of this extra to do.
Yeah, completely. Absolutely. Jumping back to this battle for 11th, then Knut Madsen falling a little bit off the back of it now. So it's Hoppe and Lundgren fighting for 11th place overall. The 29 Porsche versus the 99 Ferrari. Most everybody else has spread out fairly well, so we'll have a rundown of who is where. Continuing to lead the way is Christoph Holstein, our GTE champion, double champion, I believe. So reasserting, he really hasn't had, I say he hasn't had his own way. This is only round 2 of the championship, to be fair. But he didn't score so well last time out, but it was a few weeks ago. I'll ask you to bring up the results of that, Steve, because I don't want to look away from what our drivers are doing at the moment.
It didn't go too well from last week. He was running pretty well, but then there was a slight incident with his teammate.
Oh yes, there was.
They collided, and then it kind of unravelled for Holstein pretty quickly. I think he finished 12th.
But in the pre-season race we had, he came home second behind. Oh, who was it?
Dan Sasulski.
Oh yes, because I struggled with his name all race long. Yeah, that was a brilliant race, and the final, closing stages of Spa, of which we lost the surprising people to the incident limit as well, I recall.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how are we doing? Holstein has one incident. One incident! Good.
Aeronom has 0.
So there are a few with 0, and that is phenomenal. Yeah, Aeronom is one of them. Wallström, that's just, yeah.
It's the thing of getting in a rhythm, though.
Yeah, you said that last time.
Holstein is brilliant at it, of being incredibly quick, but not picking up incidents. Because he just gets into his rhythm, and he does his lap times, and he doesn't do things he doesn't make that many mistakes just left to it. So it always impresses me when a driver can put on such an impressively quick performance without taking any liberties with the track limits or anything.
Yeah, completely. Gadamer in second place, where he's been for a while. Leads.
Oh no, Knut! Knut's just spun!
Oh no! Let's have a quick look.
I think he kept out of the wall, but he has had a bit of a half spin.
It is really unravelling for Knut, isn't it? We were talking about this before. Does he have damage on that car? The car doesn't seem to be misbehaving. Oh dear, yeah. Well, that was exactly. Oh no, he did. He brushed the wall with the tail. That's precisely. We saw that. I've forgotten who it was that had an incident at that very same point.
Lundgren.
Was it Lundgren that had that spin? He did keep
literally
it
a lap ago. It was the exact same thing we were talking about earlier. Of you've got 8 minutes to get over it.
Yeah.
Didn't get over.
No, Knut seems to be really struggling after what has been a pretty solid performance. Oh, Gadamer, what's happened to you? Oh, something's happened to Dominic Gadamer. He's slow and in third by a very long way. What's happened to you? Coming through the carousel? Oh! He spun. He just caught the apex of that of the actual, and ended up facing the wrong way. So that's why he's lost so much time. No damage on his car, but he's 8 seconds behind Aeronom now. Oh, that's going to take a while to close down.
That could be bad as well. If he hit the curb coming off that a bit of a weird angle, he could be. If he's lucky, he won't have any floor damage. It's the one thing you don't get to see. Yeah. The floor, but the floors are an integral part of the reason. Pretty much every car has downforce. Always run wide at YouTube corner. It's going to take him a while to get back used to how that car feels, and he's got the fastest part of the track to do it. So, good luck. Rather him than me, I'm afraid.
Well, if you had no floor, you'd fall out.
Yep, you'd be Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, good luck doing that around here.
You'd be very tired.
Yes. So Aeronom then goes up into second position, 8 seconds, and separates on Nom and Gadamer. Klima still has Dan Sasulski for. Oh, that's someone facing the wrong way. Who was that? Oh, Anthony Washington. He's sat still. He's either had a major problem. Oh no, he's just waiting for a gap. He's ended up facing backwards, and now gets going again. So that's gone horribly wrong for car number 36. Oh dear. A great
He's still going, though.
He's still going, and that itself was an achievement.
And he's going to pick up places on those that have... And he's had his own stint in the pits to get it fixed, and he's got back out there. And he's going to pick up places on those that haven't. Although I wonder if he has damage, because it looks like front left is pushed in a little. That might not be good.
Lundgren and Hoppe continue their battle. I've been watching these two for a while. The gap kind of shrinks and grows. So Lundgren doing really what he can to stay in touch with that Porsche. Now onto the back straight. I can't tell. Oh, lag moment again. Hopefully they'll come back.
Ooh, same.
Oh,
I've lost everybody.
There we go. Wow, big lag moment there. Just as we come back, Lundgren and Hoppe were side by side. So yeah, apologies there. It was just a very big lag moment. And the Ferrari, again, picked the right moment to come past the Porsche. Although he's still feeling the need to cover the Porsche off.
That could also be just natural car differences. Like I said earlier, the Ferrari is definitely a better accelerating and better on top speed than the Porsche.
Oh, side by side before they cross the line again. Hoppe wants that position back. And Hoppe's going to have the inside line for that first turn. Let's see how this one transpires. He's going to be brave on the brakes. Oh, bit of a lock-up then from car 29, but Hoppe back up into 11th and demotes the Ferrari 99 back into 12th. But here comes Lundgren again. Is he going to get alongside coming into the S's? Not quite. That's made the Porsche go a bit wide. You see the tail of the Porsche get very, very lively, and still that fight goes on.
I think Lundgren's really pushing this because he knows he's only got another half a lap or so before they're back on the Nordschleife, and then he's going to stick behind him for a whole lap.
Well, there's Washington again, who will dutifully get out of the way, or should dutifully get out of the way. He's hit the brakes well in time. But there we go. That gap now has just gone back up again to just over half a second between these two. So again, it's very nip and tuck between these two. They've been battling for quite a while. Oh, another lag moment there.
Can I just ask you to do something from a point of view of how cool this thing is?
Go on.
If you go on board or to click on like Stefan Kamke or Sebastian Riefmodeler right now.
Where is Kamke? Where is he? Where is he?
He is currently in 18th place.
There he is.
Okay.
On the nose or in car?
It doesn't matter. You see it's quite dark over there. And then if you were to click on like Magnus Wallström or someone in the top 10, you really see how stark the conditions are different based off where you are on track, because you are so far away from where you are, from where the other car is.
I mean, they are about 30 miles apart. Hint, maybe slightly exaggerated.
It's insane just how cool this... iRacing very recently implemented this, the dynamic clouds and the more dynamic weather, and oh man, it looks...
And that's caught some people out. I remember you mentioning this before. We talked about it off air. That in the days gone by, you would use a particular shadow position as a braking reference, for instance, and they will move. They'll move lap on lap.
Yep. Or you get like we've just seen there, where if the cloud covers the sun, the whole track's a shadow. The cloud is the shadow. There is no extra shadow or secondary shadow for you to use as a braking point. It's really brought iRacing back in with the other weather systems on other competition, I guess.
Oh, I was thinking Lundgren was going to make a move then on Hoppe, but didn't manage to get it done. And still, Ferrari 99 is pressuring hard the Porsche 29 of Jeremy Hoppe, but Hoppe slow through this particular section, and no, there's nowhere really to use that additional pace. Wow, that's a lot of pressure. It goes both ways, because you can become very sort of target fixated on the car ahead of you, and either just make a mistake because you haven't anticipated their braking point properly, or you end up following them. If they make a mistake, you end up just sympathy spinning with them or some such. So
and we've seen that. But it wasn't even the case where Gibbs was that close to Suominen. Suominen spun, and then by happenstance, Gibbs spun as well. It's very easy when you're that close to them. And I can't imagine how hypnotic it must be on a track like this where the whole thing it's changing constantly, and you're just staring at the back of this car. Oh man, rather than the me.
It's much more comfortable in the commentary box, is it not?
Absolutely.
We actually have 3 pairs of battles going on. We've got Magnussen and De Bruyck. This battle we've been staring at for a while. That's our battle for 6th. We've got Lundgren and Hoppe. We also have Foku and Sluman. Battle for 13th between the 41 Ford and the 12 Porsche. So again, even at, I mean, we're approaching not much more than half an hour to go. So these guys have been going nearly an hour, plus 40 minutes qualifying before that, and however many hours they've spent in practice. We still have got battling going on throughout the field.
Absolutely, it's amazing to see. Because I think that and it throws the idea out the window of just survive, because you don't race this hard if you're just trying to survive.
No. You're like, yeah, please do take the position. I'll follow you for a while. Absolutely amazing stuff. It's difficult to know where to look, as we forever say that. And it was Wallström bounces off the apex. You were talking about how nasty the curbs are. Wow, that one absolutely spat him out, but he managed to catch it quite well. Yeah, we say that fairly regularly. It's difficult to know where to look. As a commentator, it is, and some people, would say, see this, see this, see this. And I regularly, when we come to driver interviews in other leagues, some people would regularly say, "Oh, did you see this? Did you see this?" And I've been commentating for the last hour. I can't remember 5 minutes ago. We try our best to cover the action as best we can throughout the field, not just the select few. But it's very difficult to know, especially here, when something's going to happen, because we've seen so many times throughout this race, things can just blink of an eye change.
Absolutely. Talking of which, we've got Phil Reed, I think, has had an issue somewhere along the line, because he's been in the pits, I think, for 6 minutes.
Oh dear. That's reshaped Ferrari as well.
Yep. Jamie Smith has just gone back out on track with a quite heavily wounded car, I think it's fair to say.
Ooh!
From the back, it doesn't look too good. From the front, more of a bath rather than a car.
Oh dear, yeah, big lock up. I admire your determination, Mr. Smith. Carry on.
And there's something I was going to mention earlier as well. For those that have met an unfortunate end and left or had issues, there are no drop weeks anymore in this championship. Your results count. And for the likes of Alanda, who, in the F3 and 3.5 championships is doing incredibly well. Or 3.5, I don't think he's in. He's doing incredibly well in 3.5. Here, by not finishing, by crashing out from the lead on the first lap, he's handed a massive advantage to everybody else that could be potential championship rivals. Now, you've still got Sosowski running in 5th, you've got Holstein running 1st, Gaden Mayer 3rd, Klima in 4th. You've got a lot of big names still in the race.
Absolutely. I'll tell you why Phil might be in the pits. He's got 18 on the incident count.
He's not out then.
No, he's not. I noticed that.
He'll go out. Maybe he's just...
Yeah, that's interesting. But he has actually hit the incident. Oh, he's exceeded the incident limit.
No, the incident limit was 20.
Oh, I thought it was 17. Beg your pardon. So he's close to it. If he does come back out again, he does have to be careful with that.
With the amount of damage, I don't think he'll be coming back out.
That did look quite heavily redesigned. Yeah, that was a grand designs moment there.
Yeah, how to wreck a Ferrari in 60 seconds.
Still, Lundgren chasing Hoppe. Hoppe does actually have some damage on the front left of that Porsche, I noticed in that shot. That floor doesn't look entirely flat, unless that's just the way the livery looks. 5 laps remaining. Well, the overlay tells us that. It's been telling us that for a few minutes, I realise, but I've only just looked at it. So
it's still crazy to me. 5 laps to go, and there's still half an hour still to go in the race.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's still 31 minutes remaining, but that's the thing with Nords. It's so unique. There is no. Oh, I've knocked my steering wheel over. That's what that noise was. There's nothing like it. You can say I don't know, pick names out of the air. Suzuka is comparable to here, the Nurburgring. It's twisty. There's comparables. What is comparable to the Nords? Absolutely
Nothing.
Squat. You know,
Nothing.
driving from Switzerland to Italy, maybe. You know, there is nothing you can compare at all to the Nordschleife.
It would probably have to be a point-to-point rally.
Yeah, Paris-Dakar or something.
Yeah, because it's so long and it's so challenging.
Yeah.
Yet they race round here.
Pretty
And
damn quickly.
And we still have those. Oh, actually, Youngrim's quite close to Hoppe at the minute. I wonder if he's going to try and have a go into the chicane. I don't think he's going to make it. No, he's just sitting back behind for now.
If it was the slower chicane, I'd have expected that one, but no. But he's just not letting go. And again, why should he? Well, there is points to be had. And
Absolutely, points go down to 18th place. Overall, they will get class points retroactively when we assign them into classes. So this could be a fight for both overall position and class position right now. They don't know this. This could be the difference between a class second place and a class win.
What's just happened to Sluman? Oh, that's what's happened to Sluman. He had a massive tank slapper. He caught it, but that's just let Flavin focus in.
I'm going to go back and watch that because I like to watch good tank slapper.
Yeah, he had a massive snap of oversteer just on the cut through to the Nords and caught it well though.
That was well done.
But it is those moments, especially if you've been in the zone for a while, which, I mean, he's been under a lot of pressure from Foku for a long time, so he probably wasn't kind of, not zoned out, but, you know, there is an element of hit your marks, that it just becomes natural, you know, adrenaline and senses as opposed to kind of conscious thought, and then suddenly that will snap you out of it, and suddenly you're like, oh my goodness, I've actually been racing like this for an hour.
Yeah, it's suddenly a rude awakening. When you, and there's something, I mean, I'll be honest, I've been guilty of it as well, where you get into them like, I'm fine now, I'm sorted, I know what I'm doing, I've got my reference points, and then something will happen that you haven't had before.
Yeah.
You know, you'll make a mistake at a corner, you've never made a mistake, or you'll spin somewhere you've not spun, you're like, why did that happen? what did I do differently there? And it can play on your mind if you let it get to you.
Yeah, that's where the whole mental discipline comes in. It's a particularly big thing for endurance races as well, where, you know, you make a mistake and it can linger and it can really mess with your head. I'm terrible at it. I'm not a league racer, so I don't have a kind of lot of practice on how to overcome it. But if I make a mistake, it bugs me, and it's like, why did I do that? The thing is, I can't let go of it. It's ridiculous to hang on to it because it happened 5, 6, 10 corners ago. But it's and you then overthink it and make more mistakes, and the snowball keeps going. I don't have that ability to just go, leave it alone, and then you don't think about it again. You know, that's what separates the good from the great. That ability, and again, this is exactly what you were talking about at Suzuka, where the greats just have that off switch and off we go. You know, yeah, I don't.
So it does take a tremendous. It's something I think is underrated and underappreciated.
Very.
In regard to being a good driver, it's not just your natural racing talent. It's a lot as well compared to your mental ability to be able to put aside those mistakes and accept the confidence of like, I'm quick here. I know I'm quick, and not let those things affect you.
And that's a direct comparable to real life racing as well. And this is where the sim racing world is really kind of selling itself, I think, is the mental discipline. Your natural driving ability, yes, of course, it's important, but a huge element that the casual racer or a lot of spectators that don't necessarily kind of see or appreciate or understand the esports side, that it's the mental strength, the mental discipline that really kind of sells itself and really shows what the real world. Shows the real world what esport drivers and talent can really offer. Is that kind of, yes, I do have the mental strength to do this. Yes, I do have the raw talent to do this. Okay, I haven't experienced G-forces on my neck to make it as thick as a tree, but physical shape is easy, or easier at least.
Good save, good retract there.
Yeah, but you know, it is that the physical element is much easier to deal with than the mental element. That was much, you know, much more based on if you have it in your nature to be able to deal with it, you'll find it much easier to deal with the mental side of things. Whereas, you know, if being under pressure or having to recover from a mistake is difficult, then it doesn't matter how quick you are, you'll end up being your own worst enemy.
Absolutely. And then there's a lot to it that I think that goes either misinformed or underappreciated.
Yeah, completely.
But then you go back to the raw basics of it, which is what we have at the minute with these small personal battles. It seems like, although it does look like at the minute the only last one we have at the minute is Lundgren versus Harpe, who are still running within a second of each other.
Everyone else has spread out, but to be fair, it's taken this long. I did fully envisage, you know, a full endurance race kind of situation where everybody just scatters.
Absolutely.
That's much more difficult to deal with. You know, as I've commentated on numerous endurance races, one or two here, and the hardest ones to deal with is when no one is near anybody. Especially when you have hours of that, and that's, you know, that's where, you know, ability as a commentator is just to keep going and keep it interesting. Yes, I grant you, but it's a downside easier when there's battles going on.
Absolutely. So I'm just having a look at some of the lap times at the minute from some of these drivers. I think Holstein is either struggling with tyres a little bit, or he's just... It's the trick with this circuit is because there's so many things where you can lose time or gain time. Since lap 4, Holstein has steadily got slower each lap. Now you could say that's tyres, you could say that's natural endurance. But equally you then have Gedemir has pitted, as has Aeronon. That's why I was very confused. And Klima is in as well, and Sasulski.
Yeah, a lot of people then... I wouldn't be surprised if vast majority of the field did so now, as I'm keeping an eye on Lundgren and Hoppe, who are continuing their battle. That got very easy between those two on the back straight. Let's see if they come in, and they come in at exactly the same time. So yeah, more people are choosing now to get their pit stops done. Holstein didn't, so he's going to be away and gone in the distance. So judging by the fact that he was 8 seconds, I think it was, ahead of Iranom, and now 44, so we're looking at a 36-second loss overall. That's absolutely fair enough. That is assumingly lacking in kind of damage repair going on. So we're looking at Hoppe, who's come to rest. So that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people coming through the pits now. So,
our timing screen has just lit up.
Gone bananas. Yeah, absolutely it has. But Holstein, not one of them. But I mean, again, coming back to his lap times, you're saying he's getting steadily greater. I think he's just managing. He doesn't have to push. He's not been under pressure for a long time. So there's no reason for him to... But you made the point before where if you back off too much, you risk... Well, I suppose in a way you become complacent. You think, yes, I can do this, I can do this. It may not be a conscious thought, but your subconscious is too relaxed, and you just take your eye off the ball, and yeah, look what's waiting to greet you when you do that.
Yeah, I mean, it was the famous moment from Senna at Monaco, wasn't it? Where he was leading by so much. Just thought, I'll back off, and the next moment he's in the wall. I'm really interested to see how Holstein reacts now. Because it's not like every other track, as we keep saying. You know, you can't... oh, they've pitted, I'll cover them. I'll be in a minute and 30. Everyone else has got a long time now, either on... I don't think anyone took fresh tyres based off the pit stop.
No.
Well, either they all took fresh tyres or no one took the tyres.
They weren't really they weren't still for very long, so I don't...
No, I think it was just...
I don't think so.
But yeah, he's now got a whole lap of... Okay, they're behind me. I can't see what's happening. And I've got a long time until I get to the pit stop.
And there's another thing as well. When you're near no one, and you know, I've had this from various daft challenges I've done on my own channel before, where it's actually much more difficult for me to kind of hit my points properly when I've got no one as a braking reference.
Yeah.
You know, you get used to travelling in the pack, so to speak. You get used to chasing someone or several someones. And when they're not there, you suddenly have to rethink. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, these guys generally practice on their own. The reverse of that is then having less experience on travelling in the pack. So one mistake and you've taken half the field with you. Yeah. So it's then having the knowledge of, oh, okay, I use this bit of paint or that bit of wall over there as a braking reference, as opposed to, oh, that person in front of me is just braked, I need to do the same.
Yeah. It's the bonus with the system we have on iRacing, because iRacing has the official races that anyone can partake in if you meet the license requirement. So you can get that valuable race experience, but it's very different. It's very different from going into one of those races to going into one of these. Because I would like to say, and I genuinely hope, that we do have the best and some of the best drivers in the sim world, and you know they can. And then in the official races, you're kind of catered for as your level. You know, you're put with people of your level. Here, it's just who's here. And we have a great field spread. You know, we have a very competitive top of the championship this season, I think. And I think the AM battle and the Pro-Am battle, I think, will also be very close from what we saw from bits of last season as well. So you've always got people to fight. And you know, it can be disheartening, I think, sometimes in races where you're on your own. But like who haven't we mentioned for a long time? Say Alexander Godefroy. He's been on his own pretty much all the race from what we've seen. And I'm sure it's not possible to get bored. Or it's like, oh, you know, why am I here? He could, like I said earlier,
Klima's had a problem. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I cut you off completely there. Wholeheartedly apologize.
It's fine.
Oh, that's not a happy Ferrari there. What on earth happened to you? He was fine.
Problem? No, he has a problem on the rear right.
Yeah, something's gone horribly wrong. Oh, that'll be it. Wow, he just locked up his brakes and sideswiped the wall.
Oh, I wonder if he did what Knut did earlier then.
Yep, it's exactly the same point. It was exactly the same place. Well, here, there we go. What did we say? Blink of an eye. And no sooner has that happened, I've now looked at the timings. De Bruycheck and Sasulski battle for fourth. They were all spread out. We were nattering away. Klima throws it in the wall, and suddenly we have battling again.
Absolutely, and this is the thing that, like, Holstein's got no idea any of this is happening. And it's the thing with the circuit, especially, is like, because he doesn't know, he could be pushing so hard right now and increase the risk of making a mistake for no reason.
Needlessly, yeah, absolutely. And you know, having a look at him, he's not hanging around either, as he's heading towards, where are you at the moment? He's getting towards that back straight, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the mini carousel. So yeah, so he's not hanging around at all. He wants to get his pit stop out of the way and just have that, you know, that comfortable gap, so to speak. But wow, I'm really surprised Klima was in fourth and had been there for so long.
It's easy to do.
So easy.
And Klima's been on their own for pretty much the whole race. They've been in a really solid fourth, no problem. They've not had massive pressure from behind. They've not been really chasing anyone. They were looked like good, solid fourth place, and one mistake, and that's it. Game over.
So disheartening.
Absolutely. They may be able to keep going. Because they would have towed, so there'll be a penalty for towing. Be a few minutes, I think, and then if there's any damage, they can get that repaired to get back out.
Klima hit the wall pretty hard, so that
there's going to be some repairs.
Yeah. That'll need a, you know, you'll need a new coffee in there. Yeah, the previous drink would have been dispersed out the window. How hard he hit the wall side. He hit it perfectly sideways as well.
I will leave it.
Well, yeah, it had to be short. He couldn't make another lap. I would have thought. Oh, there's that rearranged Ford that we commented.
Smith.
Yep, there he is. He's brought his Ford in. I'm assuming that's not the first time.
Oh, no. Did we see what happened to Gaillard? Because he's had a huge huge problem by the looks of it. That's very mangled looking car.
Oh, no, I didn't see the incident with Felipe Gaillard. Oh dear. Problem for him. Holstein has come to a stop. He won't be there long. And he wasn't. He's back underway. He'll be quite there.
He's just about to start his next lap.
So relook back. Nowhere near it. Looking back from Holstein, can't even see car number 78. So a comfortable gap. 10 seconds, 7 seconds. There we go. So near as damn it the same as pre-pit stop for Holstein. Was that someone? Oh, that's a white Ford.
I'll tell you what, we've got a bit of a three-way battle forming here for 4th place.
We do. Suzuki, Dubrochek and Wallström. That is the privateer Ford getting out of the way. We were looking at earlier. I've completely forgotten who that was. Nope, can't remember. Zelenka? Oh, my game's going crazy. Oh, Zelenika. That was the Ford in question. So my game kind of hung there for a moment, but back underway. But yeah, we've got a great three-way battle forming for 4th place. Suzuki in the wanders a tad wide coming through that chicane. Then is the Dubrochek and the Porsche that's under the blimp at the moment. Can't really see the other two from that shot. Now coming into the hairpin. So 3 to go. Still quarter of an hour on the clock.
We've also got a bit of a battle for 11th place between Foku and Cruz. Foku's just passed Cruz down the long back straight, but I don't think
that's Cruz and Hoppe.
You're right, I got it the wrong way around. I don't think Hoppe's willing to let that one go quite so easy though.
Ooh, that was a big lockup. That could have got a little bit clumsy, but the tail did not want to behave either. And surely that's going to be Soren Krutz back through again. A little bit of slipstream. Who's going to get the inside line for the next series of turns? Wow, that's close. And they've been going for so long, and still, you can barely separate them with the credit card. That's absolutely incredible with these guys.
Yeah, Hoppe lost a little time through his pit stop. I think he must have had some repairs done because he dropped about 7 seconds compared to Lundgren, who he was fighting with. Just on the base pit stop alone, we can see that he was a little longer through the pit stop. And now he's got a new playmate.
That he does. I'm keeping my eye as well on this three-way battle. Suzuki, Dubrochek and Wallström. They are a little bit spread out at the moment, but with how quickly things can change, that is just brewing. And that puts really the pressure mainly on Suzuki, because, well, 4th place was in the hands of Claudia Klima, who rather binned that one quite heavily into the wall. So, even the greats make mistakes, as we say. That's a lot of pressure he's got to deal with. He's in a very good position for a very good haul of points.
Absolutely. He had a very good race last time out in Imola. I think he finished 6th. Although, he has changed car. He was in the Porsche. I was just about to say in the Porsche. But he's in the Ford now, so he's lost his points from Imola. So he really needs a good haul of points. I think he's slightly on the back foot with that slightly damaged rear wing, which might be why Dubrochek and Wallström are right attacking him. This is what I like about GTE racing, though. That is 3 different manufacturers right next to each other.
Yeah.
After over an hour of racing on the toughest track.
Absolutely, yeah. 1 Ford, 1 Porsche, 1 Ferrari. Very nicely done, representing the full range. Absolutely awesome. But yeah, they're coming through, and you've got to think fatigue's got to be setting in now. This is why, again, I hold my hat off to endurance racers in particular, how they can keep going for hours on end. I know damn well I can't. I haven't attempted it, but I know what I'm like after half an hour. So I did try to think how these guys must be feeling after an hour and 20 minutes, or approaching an hour and 20 minutes.
It is a specialist skill.
Oh, yes. And when you've got a smaller track, you just get into that repeated rhythm. But when your repeated rhythm is exceedingly long, when it's nearly 8 minutes long, it is so taxing that, yeah, unless you've done it, it's difficult to kind of explain it.
Yeah. Just having a look as well from the forum, Mike Sherpas, he did get the meatball flag. He got the black and orange flag, so he had to pit for damage, and if he doesn't pit, he gets disqualified.
Yeah, you did say that he was like to get that. What's happened to... Oh, Dressler! Dressler's in trouble. What has happened to you? What on earth? Well, we know what you've likely hit, but where have you done it?
He doesn't look like he's hit anything. It looks like he's just had dropped it going into the very tight left-hander after the very fast triple apex right-hander.
Yeah, an unusual incident for you. Oh, De Bruycheck and Sasulski side by side, Porter on Ford. This could go horribly wrong. That's absolutely flat out for several left-handers, but De Bruycheck's got him. Wow, that was so brave. You've got to have a lot of faith in the person you're passing to pull that off. Absolutely brilliant effort by Chris De Bruycheck.
Were you on the replay? Did you catch that on the replay?
No, I'm live at the moment.
Oh, okay, because that wasn't what I was seeing. Oh, wait.
Oh, Sasulski.
Oh, I can tell you what that is.
I think I'm live.
Yeah,
I am live.
Sasulski and yes, Sasulski and Wallström are both drive for Team Bushfink Racing.
So that
I think that was okay. I've lost De Bruycheck. You go get him now.
well, fair play. Tell you what, someone else has found themselves now in a fight. Dressler, after that incident, has got a rearview mirror full of Ford. And Sarah Dove's Ford as well.
Oh, he was running so well, and now he's got on his own with no pressure, and now he's got well, not a lot left in the race, but he's got that knowledge of that mistake, and he's got a very competent driver behind him.
Who's got 0 incidents.
Essentially like this track.
Yeah, you were not wrong. Keeping an eye on Wallström, though, he is chasing after De Bruycheck, as we mentioned. There is Sasulski in the background. He's falling a little bit off the back of the battle. He may not choose to chase too hard and just may go in to bring the car home. He's still got some way to go. He's thinking along that kind of lines. Where's Holstein? There he is. He's coming up to the mini carousel. So what have we got left? He's got about a minute. Because the time, I'm just looking at the time here. Now I know that the overlist has 3 laps to go.
It's going to be tight, whether it's 10 or 11 laps.
I don't reckon he's going to do it. He's got 50 seconds from there to cross the line, and there'll be 8 minutes left. He's going to be very, very close. And some people will want that extra lap. Some people will definitely not want that extra lap.
If you're Chris De Bruycheck, you don't want the extra lap.
Hoppe, what's happened to you? Again, I'm so sorry, Stevie. I'm cutting you off every.
It's fine.
What has happened to car 29?
Oh no, he ran wide and got on the grass.
Oh, and that's again how quickly he can change. He didn't hit the wall hard, but wow, he bounced around. That would have hurt the floor.
I'll tell you what as well, that moment just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
He
went
did.
from one grass patch to another, to over a curb.
Oh, Lundgren's had a huge incident. He's out. He was pretty heavily banged up before, and we found him stationary. What has happened to you? Car 99, he was about 15th or so. Oh, ow. Yeah, the car's just had enough, and into the wall he went.
And that was about 3 corners after where Hoppe had his incident.
They're all doing it around there, aren't they?
It's that latter half of the track it's so fast.
Yeah.
And if you get it even slightly wrong, you're in great trouble.
Over the start-finish line then. I didn't see what the clock was when Holstein crossed the line, so in all the excitement...
still got 2 laps.
It does, so I think he may well just beat the flag. It's going to be tight. I think he may well just beat the timer to have the 2-lap play out. It's absolutely fine for us if the likes of Wallström and De Bruycheck are going to battle the way they are. Sarah Dove is falling a little bit off the back of Dressler. Again, she's still in a very good position there in 8th place, so now's the time as any to go into bring the car home mode, but that is not what De Bruycheck and Wallström are thinking. That fight is going to go to the flag.
I would think so, yes.
Oops! Unless De Bruycheck does things like that and wanders off the road, you can't get away with that over in Nords. You'll have a barrier waiting for you with open arms. So keeps that one on the track. Wallström wasn't able to really capitalise on that, but continues on nonetheless.
I don't want to curse this,
Go on.
but our last runner at the minute is Jake Towns. He's currently in 18th place Final points paying position, and I've been checked back every now and again down the field. I don't think I've seen his car once that hasn't had damage. So he's carried the cutback car through this entire race with damage, and this is why you keep going, because it can get you points.
Indeed. I've got Cohen Van Eyck as the last runner after Jake Towns, but there's only 4 cars running after Jake Towns, of which... So
sorry, I didn't realise Cohen was still going a few laps down.
Well, indeed, yeah. Jake Towns is the last one on the lead lap, absolutely. You've got Blackwood, Christensen, Zelenika and Cohen Van Eyck that are at least a lap down, which also goes to show how bad their race has gone, considering how long the lap is. So
yes.
Yeah, that has undone itself a lot for these guys. It's a great shame, because all of these guys are amazing drivers. We've seen quite a lot of them that have been struggling today, really fighting up front in many, many races. So it just goes to show that no one's immune to a mistake here, although Christoph Holstein would argue otherwise. He's been absolutely flawed.
Don't say that. If he makes a mistake
said it. I went there. I said it. He will throttle me if I see him again. I did get to meet him actually in Silverstone when I was there with the esports guys. I got to meet a number of the Formula 1 esports guys. Holstein was there, so if I ever get to meet him again and he crashes out of this race after that comment, I will die, I suspect.
But he took that lead after Alander made that awful mistake. I'm sure he'll be kicking himself.
He will.
But Holstein has not looked challenged, to be fair, for this entire race. It'd have been great to see how it had played out if Alander had stayed in it, but this is the way it is. Holstein is still here, Alander is not.
Do you think that was in the opening laps that Alander made that error? No, a great shame, but this battle for 4th continues to rage on. Wallström staying within half a second of Krista Brojek. Sasolski is kind of looming there or thereabouts. I think he's kind of hoping that one of these, or both of these indeed, come to grief. So he's there. Oh wow, that Ford got very quickly after that right-hander. So he's struggling to keep the car pointing in the direction he wants it to. But yeah, I think with the exception of this battle, we may well just see the field kind of play out, really. Where's Holstein? He's there roughly 2/3 of the way through the lap, I think. Oh yeah, I know this. Yeah, so again, I'm keeping an eye on the clock against... I wonder if he's going to slow down just to run the clock out. I mean, he's got 7 seconds as a gap behind him.
I don't think he'll do that. Unless he's marginal on fuel, which I don't think he'll have taken the risk for. I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll just keep going.
He will press on. Oh,
I think he's enjoying driving this track at the minute.
Tell you who is also enjoying this track. We mentioned this before. Sarah Doves closed back in on Dressler. That was a 2-second gap when I last looked at it, and Sarah Dove in the 77 Ford is closing back in on him. So
interesting.
Battle for 7th and battle for 4th rages on. There's 12 seconds between the two groups, so it won't become a 5-car conga line. And there's Wallström again, getting right back into the slipstream of the Porsche. The Ford lingering in the background, as we mentioned before. There's the corner amounts are counting down, so Wallström hasn't got the luxury of time to kind of wait for a mistake to happen. They're coming up to the carousel now. Keep it nice and steady. It's a lot harder than it looks to keep a car in the
incredibly bumpy. Cars don't like that.
A terrible exit from the carousel for Wallström. He's now right in the clutches of his teammate. Suzuki right with him in the number 48 Ford. So will he remain in that position if there's team orders going on, which Stevie alluded there may well be. Yeah, now Wallström's back in his rhythm, so that battle's carrying on. But Sarah Dove has now with right there 7/10, under 7/10 now, separates the Ford and the Ferrari. So either Dressler has a problem, or Sarah Dove has suddenly picked up the pace, although now I've said that, she's now dropping back a little bit. But yeah, don't discount that battle for 7th at all.
There are some tracks that some drivers just click with, and some tracks that other drivers have just a natural affinity for. I think this having a knowledge and proper understanding of this track could possibly be one of the biggest advantages ever. If you know this track and can drive it regularly, compared to those that don't, you could do so much better. Like if Dressler started practicing this track this week, and Tara, like I said, you know, drives this pretty regularly in various things, she's going to be so much more confident compared to Michael.
Yeah, exactly that. There are some tracks that some drivers will swear by. This one I prefer to swear at. Very much in that camp as far as Nords is concerned and me, but then, as mentioned before, I'm not a regular driver, so I'm one of these people that will drive everything I possibly can and do silly 10-minute challenges, so driving a track like this is quite frankly terrifying. Where is Holstein? Has he beaten the clock? Oh, that is close. He's just going to beat the clock. He's going to cross the line. Now, 4 seconds he beat the clock by. Oh, wow.
What? For some drivers, he's just giving them an extra 10 minutes of absolute joy. For others, they're going to hate him.
And we've just documented that, so...
Yep.
Oh, Sarah Dove staying very much in the slipstream. She's not really gaining too much on Dressler in the straight line. There in the background, I think that's Alexander Godefroy. I think. It's just behind. It is.
We've got another battle forming as well. Knut Martinson on the back of Marvin Sluman.
That's a battle for 12th. There it is between the Ferrari and the Ford. Knut's rather... Well, for a fair amount, he's had company for most of this race that we've spotted.
Oh, I think Dove's going to have a go at Dressler here. She's very close, going on to the GP layout.
Here she comes. For the final time then, coming back into the Nurburgring. Oh, she backed off actually coming into that turn one. She could have had a big old dive on the inside, but didn't feel the need to. And they're not confident to do so, or felt the strength of the Ford is elsewhere. So we will see whether that decision rewards itself or not. And oh wow, Knut Martinson. Oh, that's on the back straight. He's looking to size up a move. And oh, that's an unhappy white Ford. That's Selenika.
Yeah, who has had the biggest crash, I think, because that car was crabbing greatly.
Oh yes,
I went very. Yeah, that was going very sideways in the straight. Why is Sluman dropped so far off the back?
He's got a problem of some kind. What's happened to you? He's just slowed down. Oh, he's got a problem. I mean, that rear wing is damaged, so he may well have been nursing a problem for a while. And Knut Martinson is just taking advantage, been in the right place at the right time to capitalise on it.
Yeah, Marvin's in now. He's pitting. No, he isn't.
Okay. I was going to say you wouldn't pit now, surely.
It looked like, for some reason, it looked like he was going in the pits, although he might have been looking at Marco.
Sarah Dove remains within 6/10 of Dressler as they've come through the Nurburgring into the VDOT chicane for the final time. The three-way battle we were looking at before, De Bruyck, Wallström and Salus. I knew I'd do that. I got the whole race without getting his name wrong, and I just got it wrong there. Sasulski, that battle has pretty much spread out now. There you just see the Ford in the background. And there's a second between Wallström and De Bruyck, which of course can completely evaporate as the lap goes on. But I'm keeping an eye very much on this battle for 7th. Sarah Dove against Michael Dressler. And Dove has been quicker than Dressler for the last few laps overall. But is she going to feel pressured into making... Oh, Dressler was wide again.
She'll be past if he carries on. This he's made a few just in the last few corners, and there's a lot more corners still to go.
Oh yes, absolutely. And this comes back to feeling confident in the track. If you're the one putting the pressure on someone, and you are comfortable in the car, you're comfortable in the track, it's a surprisingly easy job to do. But reverse those roles, and it is absolute hell. Defending against a good driver on a track that suits them more than you, and it ramps up the pressure tenfold.
Absolutely. And we saw her back out of the move at turn 1. Maybe she knows that there's no point in doing that. It's this kind of experience you can pick up if you race at a track more often. She's maybe just think, well, I'll just wait and I'll just get him towards the line or coming up the back straight later.
Yep, that's all part of the sensible racing. Wallström's caught De Bruyck. Battle for fourth resumes then on the final lap. So we've got two battles with a near identical gap between them. Wallström to De Bruyck and Dove to Dressler. Here comes the Ford again, staying very much under the rear wing of that Ferrari. Let's keep an eye on where Holstein is. He is in the final 2/3 of the lap, so it will not be long before he crosses the line for the final time. But Saradov is piling the pressure on, and we've seen how Michael struggled to defend against the Ford. So will this finally pay off for the 77 Ford?
I mean, it'll be amazing if it does. And again, she's done all of this. She's one of 3 drivers only in the top 15 that have 0 incidents. That's no off tracks, that's no crashes, that's no half spins, and nothing.
You literally can't get cleaner than that.
Nope, that is the ultimate in clean racing.
Where is Holstein now? He's gone past the trap.
He's coming up to the carousel.
He is, so not too far to go for our current champion. Still, Saradov just staying. I think it's also probably part sensible driving as well, as not trying to make a move where he just will not stick under any circumstance, because that's a fast track into the wall.
Absolutely. Wallström's very close to De Bruyck as well.
He may be forced into making a move where he doesn't particularly want to because he's so close. They've left Sasulski really behind. 4 seconds between them and him now. Through that tight right-hander, they're heading to the carousel themselves. Not really an opportunity there unless someone falls off the... And Saradov again, same kind of deal with her. She's so close to the Ferrari. She's been piling the pressure on for so long. And it will be all credit to Michael Dressler if he can fend off the Ford, because she has been so determined and so adamant in keeping that pressure on. It'll be incredible if he manages to fend that off until the line. Where is Holstein? He is heading down towards the mini carousel. So he's literally got a few corners left, a dozen corners probably at best now. And then the win will be his if I've clocked him at the right place, which I probably haven't.
I think you're a little bit late. I think he's a bit earlier than that.
Oh, so
he's not far from it. He's coming up to it soon.
Yeah, I was a tad early with that particular prediction. He's not far off the mini carousel.
No, he's only got a couple of corners to the mini carousel now. I'll be honest, I have to go on board to try and work out where they are.
Yeah, you'll recognise it more from a... I've had that before, where I recognise a piece of track far more from a spectator's point than a driver's point.
Yep.
Saradov continues to pressure Dressler for 7th. Wallström remains with De Bruyck for 4th. Holstein is now on that long back straight. He's got about 20 seconds, well, slightly more than that, about 30 seconds before he crosses the line to bring the checkered flag to him. Oh, Saradov has made a mistake somewhere. She's lost some ground on Michael Dressler. She's the one that's made a little bit of a mistake, but it can still completely change in the dying stages. Wallström through the mini carousel on the back of De Bruyck. The Porsche will know that the slipstream may be enough to slingshot the Ferrari past him, but the 55 Ferrari needs a decent run through these last few turns, and he stayed right with the Porsche as well.
Holstein's coming out of final chicane now.
Here he is, your winner here for round number 2. It is the champion himself, number 9, the Comrade Gaming Ferrari, Christoph Holstein, takes the win. All eyes at the moment on Wallström. He's got the slipstream. He's coming to the end of that back straight. Now jumps out from behind the Porsche. Has he got enough road left? Does he have the momentum to make the move? There he goes into 4th. Can he hold off the Porsche? The Porsche slips in behind, but there's not really going to be enough room for him to fight back. Saradov's doing the same thing. She's jumped out from behind Dressler, but Dressler's on the inside. But I think Saradov's got the momentum to get the move done before she gets to the next breaker zone. Side by side through that little left kink. That is going to be incredibly close.
Oh, that's close.
They're so side by side coming through the twisty bit. Saradov's not letting it go. She's going to have the next inside line. Oh, she's got him. Oh, through the final turns, Sarah Dove has finally made the move stick. We've missed everybody else coming over the line because that battle was so close.
That was amazing, and that was very fair between both of them. At such high speed, it would have been so easy for one of them to a slight touch of that speed, and it is game over for both of them.
Absolutely.
That was amazing.
Brilliantly done. Iru Nom and Dominic Gadamer take the next batting positions. Volstrom 4 and De Bruytek 5. So Volstrom, as we saw, did take that position from Chris De Bruytek in the last. Then is Sasulski in 6th. Sarah Dove in that incredible sequence of corners at the end. So took the 7th place from Michael Dreschler in 8th. Godefroy's crossed the line in 9th. Flavian Foucault, here he is. Car number 12 is going to cross the line in 10th. Soren Krutz, couple of seconds behind. There he is, car number 91. Bit of a dent on that. Well, there's not many cars that don't have war wounds on them, let's be honest. Here comes Knut Martinsen, the AOR yellow car number 20, coming into that final sequence of corners. And by this point, they've been going for so long, you're kind of wishing the corners to hurry up. Well, some of them will. I'd say the likes of Sarah Duff are probably wanting it to carry on, but... And Knut looks happy with that. He's crossing. Oh, he's weaving out frustration, either or. But his day is done. There is Marvin Sluman. That's I missed who the Porsche was directly behind him, but it isn't Sebastian Riethmüller. Oh, that is I've forgotten who is that runs the Red Bull liveried.
Melon Cooper.
Melon Cooper? No, he's back in the pits. It wasn't who I actually thought it was. Never mind. Ignore that sentence entirely. So there is Marvin Sluman. He looks happy with that. Car number 41. Riethmüller in 14th, 30 seconds behind Sluman. And again, in a track like this, that is not as big as it may initially seem. He's going to cross the line and take that 14th position. Richard Brenneman in the PCDC car number 6. The Porsche then a further 30 seconds down the road. Then it is Stefan Kamke in the Slotherines car 82. Yeah. We commented actually on the livery. Remember, I was running the wrong liveries in part of the last race. I was actually just checking his rear wing to make sure I had it right, which I do, because it says you shall not pass on the back. Actually, Stefan Kamke is the last car on the lead lap. Everyone else. Jeremy Hoppe is still going. He's still pressing on. And Sam Blackwood, of course, these guys are considerably further back in the lap. Merlin Cooper is back to the pits. Christensen still running. Whether he's actually slowing down or not, I'm not entirely sure. And Jamie Smith is also still running in that rather rearranged Ford. He's just come through the mini carousel, so not too much further to go for him. Where is Brenneman? He's crossed the line. That's 15th position. Sewn up. Stefan Kamke. Flash of the lights. It almost looked like he was flashing at us. I'll be amazed if he's listening to the stream as well as driving. That's not at all distracting. But
it'll be a special set of skills.
Yeah, absolutely. There comes Stefan Kamke, the last car on the lead lap. As mentioned, he's going to cross the line to take that 16th position. Jake Towns is already off the circuit in 17th. Then it is Hoppe in that rearranged Porsche. Oh, wow, that must be hard to drive. Where is he?
Yeah, he's still got quite a ways to go.
He does. Assuming he hasn't, he's not classified as finished. By the look of him, he's not
going to get any worse than that, though. He's got 18th in the back, unless he gets disqualified.
Well, indeed. What's their incident count looking like? 11 and 5 for Hoppe and Blackwood. So they're okay. And Christensen is on that back straight, so he'll be the next one to cross the line. So your ad here on his rear wing there. I just spotted that. And Jamie Smith is still running as well in his exceedingly rearranged Ford. So he's now crossed the line. His day is done. It's going to be Matthias Sala Christensen. The car is racing number 47. So we haven't really looked at quite a few of these drivers. The rest of our guys have done so brilliantly well.
Everyone who finished this race has done an incredible job, and they should be proud of themselves.
Oh, well and truly. Well,
this is not, like we've said it a lot, but this track is mean. It is tough. It is an extreme challenge. And to do this many laps in a row and to get to the end is no mean feat, so well done.
Yeah, completely. Total respect for all of our drivers, irrespective of where you finish. Who's still running? I think it's just Blackwood and Hoppe now. It is. The last two cars that are still Driving around out there, the OCM Racing car number 27, Sam Blackwood, is still got a long way to go. I think is he coming down to the carousel? No.
He's just come out of YouTube. He's still got about a third of a lap to go.
Jeremy Hoppe, car 29, very heavily damaged Porsche, is going to bring that VEC coloured car home. He's on that back straight. Wow, he looks like he's really struggling to keep the car straight. Which, you know, this track has enough to do. Actually, let's jump on board with him. Well, there you go. That's not a straight wheel at all. He's having to steer slightly to the right to get anywhere near straight. You can see how much he's struggling to maintain any kind of vaguely straight line in car 29. So that just goes to show you how much he obviously felt that Nords wasn't challenging enough.
Yes, should give yourself a handicap.
yeah.
Go with the NASCAR setup. It can only go well.
Over the line he comes. That's going to be 18th for Jeremy Hoppe. Where is Mr. Blackwood? Our last car on track in the. He's on the back straight. So in the closing stages then for OCM car 27. Is he having to take an unusual line as well? Nope. That's how the wheel should have looked. This is one we made earlier, in a sense. Yeah, that's how it should look, and the Porsche was displaying how it shouldn't look. What a race this has been.
It's been full of incidents, which is what we expected.
But it's been full of some incredible racing, though.
But there's definitely been some attrition, which we expected.
Oh, yes. Oh, wow, that's...
And that could have nearly been the end of it.
Yeah, that's an amazing run then from Sam Blackwood. And over the line he comes. Last running car in this race. Found the checkered flag, and that is his day done. We have some people wanting to talk to us, Mr. Stevie.
We do. They're lining up.
Yeah. One is our race winner, Mr. Holstein, and we also have, I'm very pleased to be able to chat to Sarah Dove after that incredible battle at the end. We also have Stefan Kamke, all in Discord waiting to talk to us. Let's drag them over, see if we can interrupt the conversation going on. Oh, they've broken our game again. They were all quiet and sitting there patiently waiting for us. Right, who should we chat to first? Mr. Kamke, hello to you.
Hello.
How was that one for you?
I guess good. I couldn't get a quali lap in because of tracks, and then was just staying out of trouble. I was even running 0x until under the white flag I was stupid and missed my braking marker. So I picked up one off track.
I'll be honest, I saw that. I caught that.
Thanks, I blame you. But yeah, other than that, slow and steady. Somewhere around lap 7, I think I picked up some underbody damage because the front end just wouldn't grip, but the tires were okay. So it dropped about 10 seconds a lap, just trying not to die. And finished last on the lead lap. I see a pattern emerge.
Oh, that's nothing to be ashamed of at a place like this, I think it's fair to say. Great effort, well done. And we were saying before that we have a great deal of respect for anyone that even takes part in this race, but even more so for those that found the checkered flag. And well done to all of our finishers. Great stuff, well done, and good luck for the rest of the season for you, Stefan.
Thank you.
Sarah Dove, welcome back into the commentary box. What an incredible... we kept sort of flicking to you because you were involved in some quite decent battles. Stevie mentioned that you were quite a fan of the Nordschleife in particular, but that finish you had, wow, your heart must have been up in your mouth at that stage.
Yeah, I was about 60% certain I was going to die.
I mean, you looked very much in control. So was there a point, I mean, surely in those last few corners, it kind of, that must have been the point where you started to worry a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much when it started to get tighter into the braking zone is when I was like, oh, I've only got one screen, so I couldn't see where he was. And I was just hoping that we wouldn't hit. And we didn't, but the game said we did anyway, for no reason.
I was going to say, we didn't see an impact there, but that was absolutely amazing. Great job. Well done, Sarah. That was an amazing run. And we look forward to the rest of the season for you.
Thank you.
Finally, Mr. Holstein, we didn't really look at you a great deal. In truth, when you got the lead, you kind of ran off. How was that one to you? Were you quite confident that you were just going to maintain the pace at the front, or were you constantly keeping an eye on the clock?
Well, no. After some time, I actually didn't. But as long as Dominic was pressing from behind, I actually had worries that he would catch me because he outqualified me. He was super fast in the first couple of laps. So, yeah. But initially, like how I got into that position was totally weird. Just like obviously, like started P5, was there for the whole first lap pretty much, and then that shenanigans has happened in the second carousel, and then now we just go super lucky to go straight up into second place, and that move on Aero was super crucial in my opinion to just get that advantage going and pull a gap really after that, and then save some fuel, do a bit more pit lap 1 lap later than the others, and yeah, in the end it was a controlled drive to the finish, which I totally didn't expect, to be honest.
Well, you certainly could have had us fooled, because that whole race you looked absolutely, just in control of everything you had, going on. Was there any kind of moment where you thought, oh, this could go horribly wrong? We saw so many races, so many drivers rather, just in the blink of an eye, they were in the wall or facing the wrong way. But I mean, you just look completely unfazed that entire race.
There was one lap. I'm not sure which lap it was. I think it might have been like the third lap to the end, where in the second jump, basically towards the end of the lap, was not really a jump. It's a kind of a crest where I apparently hit the curb, which I still don't believe, but some people said I hit the curb there, and I literally nearly died there by just going over the crest and hitting the curb there. That was probably my scariest moment of the whole race.
Well, a great effort, Mr. Holstein. Well done. And we look forward to how the championship will unfold.
Yep. Thank you.
Well, no one else has made themselves available for us. So, oh yes, that's another thing I was going to mention. Wycombs is gone. I just remembered actually something I was going to mention. He beat the clock by just a few seconds. I'm sure Sarah is quite happy that he didn't beat the clock by that 4 seconds, because then we would have missed that incredible battle at the end.
That's true. He did you a big favour there, Sarah.
You have him to thank for that. But that is going to be it for this evening. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the chat. A great pleasure to stream this race for you. Thank you very much, Stevie, for keeping me on the straight and narrow and tolerating my constant interruptions. It's always a great pleasure to have you with me, sir. It's
always an honour to sit alongside you and talk over these races. It's always good fun. iRacing League-wise, on Friday, we have round 3 of the F3 Championship at Brands Hatch. Very much looking forward to that.
Oh, yes.
On Monday, we have round 3 of this championship at Watkins Glen. And then the following Friday, we have round 3 of the Formula Renault 3.5 at Donington Park.
Fabulous. Big fans of all of those. Thank you very much to our sponsors. Without you, AOR would not continue to grow the way it is. As Stevie mentioned, those races are going on, but there is plenty of other things going on AOR side. So come back to us for more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night.